Hi, this is Gabe. Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my Barracuda 2 4-jaw chuck. I've been using this thing for years, and lately I noticed I've been getting a little bit of run out. When I put it on the measuring tool on it, I've been getting like 15 thousandths run out. I didn't capture that imagery beforehand, or excuse me, it was actually 25 thousandths run out. And so I've never cleaned this thing, so I've completely taken it apart. It just has this snap ring on the back, and this is that little pinion gear that goes in there. And this thing was really layered, full of gunk, sawdust, ebonite dust. And I just used a brass brush to clean it all out, to clean between all the teeth. And then all these little guys here that sit in here, actually like that. And then when this spirals and turns, it'll either advance it or retract it. So not a lot of moving parts to this. This goes in here, snap ring on top. When you flip it over, these go into the numbered slots, and if you've never taken these apart, there is a number on the side, and you can probably see that right there, like that is number 4. And these are numbered, so this would go into the corresponding slot like that. Now, one of the issues that I've noticed, like I've been working on this, like I said, past couple of days, and even though I've been working on this and cleaning it, I've actually measured the teeth and the gaps in between, because I was thinking that this right here is maybe worn or something, but it looks like that is fine. So I started measuring each one of these out. So I measured it in millimeters just because it was easier. So the first one was measuring out at 31.83, 31.87, 31.89, and 31.90. These should be all the same size. So I think that's what's causing all my run out. And without having a metal lathe to combat that and, sand that or grind that point down to where they're all even once I get it back together, I've been trying to play with it otherwise. But I also noticed that in the 4 jaws that I use all the time, those were also really built up. And in addition to that, when these are in here, it doesn't matter which one, I guess. Oops, let me put it in the right way. When this is in here on that gear, there's actually quite a bit of slop in there. That shouldn't make too much of a difference until it's tightened. So I'm going to put it back together and then see how it looks now that I got it all cleaned up. So like I said, after that gear is inside there, this has to go on, and this is a little bit of a challenge. Okay, that looks okay. That's in there and it's moving nice and smoothly. Okay, now you have to grab these in order. Like I said, this is number 4. So you have to start with number 1 and make sure that that is number 1. There's a number 1 on the side. So when you turn this, you see where that gear right here is where I'm looking. And you can see where that tooth or that spiral starts to grab. And right there it starts to grab. I don't know if it's visible or not. But anyway, it's like the basic end of a spring. So you have to put that on teeth side down till it stops. Then you're going to advance that so it's going to counter rotate. And then you're basically looking right here. And then you can kind of see it. There it is right there. So you need to catch that, just back that up just a little bit. So make sure this is number 2, number 2 there, number 2 there. Number 2 goes in. Then we advance that. So there's number 3, and you can see that start to hit again. Double check, make sure that's number 3. That is. You can feel it engage. And then there's number 4. You can see that right there hit. Show. So push number 4 in. There. Now they're all connected. So now and if I did everything right, other than these dimensions here, everything should be close to square and should all meet right in the middle. So now if we look, it's a lot better than what it was, but it's still not right. There's a little bit of a gap here on number 4. 1, 2, and 3 all hit. Number 4 does not, which is weird because number 4 says 31.9 and the others are just a little bit different, but there is still a significant gap between number 4 and number 1. But if you look here, number 4 says 31.9 and 31.83. So that's a significant gap right there. So I think that is what's causing my runout. So that's actually quite a bit. Make sure you put number 1 with number 1, 2 with number 2, and etc. Now, I'm putting these screws in to where they touch, and then I'm backing them off a 1/4 turn. Or just barely, yeah, maybe a 1/4 or less. So now I'm going to screw it together. So these aren't tight. But if I screw that together, I still have a little bit of, actually, I don't have a gap at all. Now those are all tight. or, you know, there's no gaps within there, but they're not, this isn't lined up with this to this. That side looks like it's lined up this way, but this isn't lined up together with that. See, there's a little bit of play there. That's better. So now I'll tighten these up. And I'm going to go cross from one another, like you're tightening up lug nuts. Starting from the middle first, not the outside. Okay. Now that looks like it's closing correctly. Okay, so to measure the runout, I have this piece of 1/2 inch round cold rolled steel. This just from the home center. I sanded it to get rid of any imperfections on the surface. Up to 2000 grit, so it's pretty polished. And then I marked right here, and then I put a small line so that you can see that turn. I have a V-block jig right here. I'm using the dial indicator, and I'm just going to turn that by hand. Let me get that centered in. Okay, so I'm turning this right now, and as you can see, I'm getting only the movement from my fingers as I'm turning. Otherwise, that dial indicator isn't moving at all, barely. Just from me lifting or grabbing it, it'll register the motion, but as it's turning, it's really concentric, so I know that that is nice and round. At the lathe, I have my collet chuck in here using the 1/2 inch, and marked the same distance from here to here where that line was, measuring the same points. If I turn that, I'm still about 3/1000ths to 4/1000ths of an inch off using a collet chuck, which is supposed to be much more accurate. But these tools that I ordered from Penn State are not very accurate. Okay, so the 4-jaw chuck is back in. My gauge is set to 0. That's in the same spot as before, and this is extending out the same distance as it was before in the other chuck. So you can see that that is a swing of about 22/1000ths of an inch, and you can visibly see it here, just how crooked that is. So either I throw this away, get a new one, or find a way to correct this, because that's causing a lot of wobble in the bespoke fountain pens. It shouldn't be anything like this. So I saw online where a couple guys were doing a few different things. So I'm going to try one of those fixes. Okay, so my 4-jaw chuck, I put 4 pieces of hardwood. These are Cocobolo, 1/4 inch thick. And you can see those are seated all the way down, all the way around. And I tighten up the scroll on both sides so I get a good clamping pressure all the way around. I'm going to mount this on the lathe. Then in my Jacob's chuck, I've got a milling bit, and I'm going to put that, now this is just a little bit greater than the teeth are over here. So the thought is, if I drill this into here, anything that's high or low, it'll even out those spots. I've seen that done with the machinist lathe online on YouTube, where they use a boring bit and shear off the high and low spots and actually bring their lathes back down to where it's like 0.003 or something like that. So I'm hoping that will work. So that really put that through the paces, kind of chewed it up a little bit, but we'll see how it works. The diameter is 25/64 or 9.32 millimeters. And after using that in the Jacob's chuck, running it through like you just saw, this is set to 0. And you see barely any movement at all. Let me zoom in a little closer. It's like 1 to 2/1000ths of an inch off. It's not even visible now. So I think this is even better than this chuck here. I don't know if it's just an alignment issue or what, but anyway, I am more than pleased with that for a wood lathe. And yeah, just re-drilling that out. And I also took some time centering these jaws, making sure that those X's were aligned. So when I screwed on my faceplate, or these plates here, I made sure that I did not tighten them down until I clamped everything together. You know, I had them slightly opened like that. I screwed these down, but not tight, just a quarter turn off all the way around, so that they were all loose. And then when I brought those together tightly, but not super tight, I can align that X in the middle, you know, so that this was crosshairs, perfect all the way around. And then I tightened from the inside to out. So I do number 1, then I went to number 3, tighten here, and then I went number 2 in the middle to the end, number 4 middle to the outside, so that I know that this is as square as possible, so that when I put these pieces here inside, this was as lined up as I could possibly get it from the outside, no matter what it was like on the inside. So, because I know that those pieces on the inside are off, so I couldn't do anything about that. Once I got that aligned, then I was able to drill using the Jacob's chuck and that milling bit right down the center, so that I can get a perfectly centered or aligned hole all the way down. So that way I was able to get this bar accurately read. Anyway, I hope this video helps, and it will also help me in the future in case I do something wrong. I always go back and refer to my own videos because I forget. So anyway, if this video helps, give us a thumbs up, and be sure and like and subscribe. Thank you. Have a good day. Hey, this is Gabriel Castro. Thanks for watching my YouTube channel. You can click on the link right here and subscribe. You can watch a video series right here, or the latest video right here.